Yeah, well, I would agree you've got to start sometime, but I would say start when it starts rather than beforehand.
Yeah, well, I can edit the...
You don't do editing.
I edit the in and out.
I've already told James that you don't do editing, and he said, yeah, I know, I've noticed.
He's not going to pretend he's actually seen one of my videos.
He has, he tried to watch one.
Oh, on the way. Which one was it?
I don't know. It was one of our lunch videos.
Oh, okay. Right, how are we looking?
Did you validate your parking?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I reckon you should do.
What's my address?
You don't need your address, you just need your registration.
That's what I mean, what's that?
I don't know. It's your car. He's not going to edit this bit off, is he? That stupid lanky git. So bung the whole lot in, keep the whole lot, and virus himself with his awful videoing that he didn't do. I thought it was snowing over there, but it's not. It's just pylon blocks.
I thought my nose was bleeding, but it's not.
Oh, very good.
Thank you.
Oh, well done, James.
Alright, then. Choose your weapon.
Whose is what's?
They're both ours.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, they're the diets.
Then that's yours.
Right, where do you want me?
No, this is yours.
Why?
Yeah, that's got that. That's
Because these two are diets.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I see. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you.
Where do you want me?
Hey, Nick, you'll be better this side, actually, wouldn't you? Because you're the star and all of that. And you'll be...
Are you gonna sit next to me then? We'll have to swap again, aren't we?
No, you sit there or here.
I don't want to sit next to you.
Well, sit there then.
We'll sit there and make it feel like a job interview.
Oh, that'd be worse, wouldn't it? I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna change sides as often as I like. So, James, are you regretting this yet?
Yep.
I can tell. Mine's only going to do a little bit. I'll actually do mine properly. That was just going to get the back of my head.
Are you inseminating that I don't do mine properly?
No. But everybody else is.
Oh, that'll do. Better. There we go.
We're with you, won't it?
What?
We're with you, won't it?
Oh, I didn't check it, do I? I'll check it. Who's starting?
Is it starting now?
I think so.
I thought it was a lunch video.
It is a lunch video. Well, we always do the preamble bit, don't we?
You do it.
Hello, darlings, and a very warm welcome to the first Mustard and Boaty Do Lunch with somebody slightly better known than us. And today we are having lunch with James.
Hello.
Hello, James. It's very kind of you to do this, and probably somewhat ill-advised.
Potentially.
Yeah, well,
You said something.
You're the only one that's actually taken us up on this stuff, aren't you?
No, he's not.
Well, I pretended that everyone's going for it, but in fact, no, they're not.
The hottest ticket in town, you said.
I might have said that, actually, yeah. If only you didn't have something else to do today. I was going to ask a question, which I thought I might as well say, why not do it this? I was just going to wait. I'll tell you what, I'll put mine on it, and like I said, I'll just cut some bits out of it for me just to bung you with the rest of the...
You're buggering up the ethos at Mustard and Boaty Do Lunch,
No,
mate.
I'm not. I'm making a video.
With your Jennifer Aniston hairstyle. Did you put conditioner in this morning, especially?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I bet it's lovely and stuff. Oh, it is actually.
Just for you.
A whole new demographic of video now.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to go after the pink subscription.
It's just I had my hair locked off because it was getting in the way. I could have done with more of it being locked off, so it'd be even less in the way.
I was about to say don't tell me they charge by the inch, but that also might appeal to a different audience.
Gosh, here we go.
If you could charge by the inch, you'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, what about your picture of Stan yesterday? Stan Little or Stan Large?
His name's not Stan, his name's Eddie.
Eddie, yeah, that's it, yeah. Eddie Large with his top off, you posted a picture of.
I did, yeah. Oh, sorry, Deirdre.
Forget that. I was going to try and do something a little bit proper, because after all, you're trying to make this something. And to say that everybody knows who JM Cars is, except for possibly with stuff. But who do you actually watch? Who do you like on YouTube?
As you might imagine, I don't have masses and masses of time to watch that much YouTube. I'll tend to go more with sort of object-based searches. So rather than just watching a particular channel, I will one day have it in my head that I'm gonna try and research a particular car or whatever, and so I'll watch everybody's video on said car.
That's what I do. I'm on a metro mission at the moment.
Yeah.
I bought a metro on Christmas Eve, so I've been going through all of the YouTube videos.
It's not a
on
Metro, it's a Rover 100.
It's a Metro Mark IV.
It's a Rover 100, that's what it's badged as.
Yeah, which is a Metro Mark IV, or an R6 if you want to give it the project code. Any other interrupt?
I was asking James a question and you just interrupted. You thought, I'll make this about me.
On Boaty's world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that ship has sailed.
Please don't pretend that you've ever heard of my channel.
I have, through him.
Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't have done.
Yeah, exactly.
So the thing for me, of course, because I'm driving a lot of these cars all the time, particularly if it's a new car that I think I might have a chance of reviewing myself, I will avoid like the plague any other reviews of it. However, as soon as I've driven it and done my review, then I watch it and go, I wonder what everybody else thought of this particular car. So occasionally people will accuse me of being deliberately controversial because I said that I didn't like a car and everybody else did. Well, I only know this after I've actually done my piece, and then I go and watch everyone else's video. They go, "Isn't this brilliant?" And I sit there going, "No, not really. I don't know why you all thought it was that brilliant, but you know, hey ho."
You got a good example of it?
I appear to be the only person on planet Earth that really dislikes the E46 M3. Not because it's an inherently bad car, but just because it's not the sort of, you know, life-changing experience that everybody makes it out to be. I mean, I'm quite a fan of, in the other way around, I'm quite a fan of the MG Rovers, as you well know. And not many people out there seem to be sort of, you know, flying the flag for them.
Oh, no. Now, any real YouTuber would be embarrassed to put the name through, wouldn't they? That's the thing.
So, but in terms of channels, number 27, my friend Jack, I quite enjoy. I will variously watch as well the likes of sort of Hubnut, Furious Driving. Again, particularly if there's a vehicle, like, you know, I might not watch their stuff for 6 months, but then I'll sort of go through a binge. Like Matt, for example, of Furious Driving, I got obsessed with this old police car he bought from the States that turned out to be...
Oh, he was well and truly bent over with that, wasn't he?
Yes. So I've found a great degree of schadenfreude in watching that there are people out there that potentially make even worse purchasing decisions than myself.
I think what there is a bit...
Are you not a good buyer then? Do you not think of yourself as a good buyer?
Well, if you're a seller, I'm a great buyer.
Do you think that...
you should get Joseph to buy your car. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting.
Do you think the higher your profile, the more people are going to try and treat you as a punter?
No, honestly. I'm shocked if I go to buy a car and anybody knows who I am. I mean, it'd be very arrogant of me to assume going anywhere that anybody would know who I was, and that's usually helpful.
It must happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're high enough profile that you're gonna. I mean, I got recognised in the street, and nobody knows who the hell I am. You must get it quite a lot. No, it wasn't. It was in town centre by the church, and I don't know who it was. There was a car driving past who just shouted, "Oi, Boaty!"
It does happen.
Even to him.
No, but I mean, I would have had it first when my channel was smaller than yours, probably like 2,000 or 3,000 subs type thing. It happened, not often, and it would have to be in a particular environment. So I remember the first time it happened was in a Lotus dealer. I've been working with them for a little bit. It was Bell and Colville down in Surrey, and they were helping me out do a little bit of filming. They sort of took pity on me, even though I hadn't bought my car from them. They still let me film with theirs. And as I was leaving one day, another customer was coming in, and I held the door open for him. And as he walked in, he stopped and he went, "Oh, you're JM, aren't you?" He said, "Oh, I watch your stuff. That's one of the reasons that I'm here." And you can see the sales guy in the background go, "Ah." And that was really nice, because that was proof that like what I was doing was working. Someone's come here because they watched something I've done and liked it enough to go, you know what, I'm going to give this car a try. So that was lovely. I mean, if I go somewhere that's got car stuff going on, I'll get recognised. But it's also telling the events that you go to. Like if I go to a car show, like if I went to Players or something like that, or Gravity, I'm pretty sure I would be invisible. But other car shows I go to, you get recognised all the time.
Like normal car shows.
Yeah.
Do you
enjoy it, or has it got?
That's started.
Oh, sorry. Go on, then.
Would you go to like a Ferrari show? Just Ferraris and just Ferrari's rides?
So I go to the Ferrari Challenge, which is a race that Ferrari put on, and there's several rounds throughout the year. The one I really like to go to, annoyingly I missed it last year but want to make it this year, is Silverstone is like the end of the year. So basically there's a load of good racing on, but they combine two series, so the European and the UK championships kind of combined. So there's actually a lot more racing on track than usual, and you probably get like 200 or 300 Ferraris all come and park up and all that. And it's a really good event. I actually tell people to come either if you just like, you know, looking at Ferraris and whatnot. It's a great place to be because people will be there with theirs and they're all together. And it's rare that you'll get somewhere where you can get so many of them together that you can get so close to. You'll also have the race cars and everything there, and that event is almost impossible for me to get around because I can walk on average about 20 or 30 yards and someone will want to stop me and have a chat, which is lovely. And I don't mind it at all because these are people that watch what I do and they're sort of, you know, they contribute to what it's essentially that indirectly are paying my wages. So,
yeah,
you know.
I find that.
Do you?
No.
What
I did a
car
bit of
did
Pride
you
of
pass your
Longridge.
test in?
Mark II Ford Focus ZTEC 1.6.
Registration.
That I cannot
He's not
remember.
going to know that, but he will know. He will know the registration of his first car. Everybody remembers the reg of their first car.
HN05 YGT.
See, I told you mine was FFD 526Y,
Yeah.
2 litre Ambassador HLS.
Ambassador.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was
That's-
a Peugeot 407 Estate 1.6 diesel.
An estate.
Yeah.
That was your first car.
Yeah.
An unusual choice for a first car.
So-
Was it your choice or was
Yeah,
it?
you know, it was. I was
bought for you by?
No, I was living in London. I was working in film and needed something to cart film kit around
Okay.
the estate, and I went with the 407 because it was a little sexier than the other alternatives. And what I was doing ultimately was playing insurance companies at their own game because I worked out that I was 19 or so when I got my first car. At that point, insurance companies seem to charge basically £1 per cc. So if you want a 1.2, 1,200 quid. If you want a 1.6, 1,600 quid. If you want a 2 litre, £2,000. But at that point, diesels were getting a lot better, and so you could buy. The problem is a lot of estates were sort of bigger petrols, 2 litre, 2.2s, 2.4s, that sort of thing, and they were really expensive to insure. But the new modern turbo diesel had more torque and sort of similar power, but because it was a 1.6. Cost me a lot less to insure, and it was a nice comfortable thing. Had a completely flat floor in the back as well with the seats folded down, so I did sleep in it a couple of times.
Did you 407?
Yeah.
Yeah, I test drove those. I really liked it. They drive really well.
Really fancy multi-link front suspension and all sorts of stuff.
Did you pass first time?
No,
Oh,
I passed.
He's got these questions written down on his own.
I haven't.
You have.
I'm trying to think. I passed second time. My motorbike license I passed 4th time, and yeah, car second time.
did you pass first time?
No, second time.
And what about your HGV?
First time.
Okay.
I wasn't rushing with that one.
Oh, you were rushing with the car, weren't you?
I did, yeah, because I was trying to come out of a junction, and there was just an awful lot of traffic going on. And eventually, I ended up wheel spinning to get out. That was enough.
I failed my first test because there was a very large roundabout and I was approaching it from here, and there was another car still a good 20 or 30 yards before the white lines, and I could see that there was plenty of time to get on the roundabout, and the assessor disagreed and slammed on the brakes. I later found out that she had a reputation for doing this, and she also had like a death grip on the the grab handle the entire time. And I did think that maybe if that was your sort of state when being driven around by a learner, you're probably in the wrong job.
Yeah. Because you probably got involved with the old crash the cash thing as well, inadvertently.
Yeah. So, but past the second time.
What were your fantasy cars when you were like a teenager?
Porsche Carrera GT, McLaren F1 LM. Did later develop a bit of a thing for Ford GT40. One of my school friends' dad had a GT40. Ferrari 355.
No, you got
Never weirdly into much German stuff at that time, I don't think.
Me neither.
Lamborghini Diablo. That was pretty. I'm lucky enough that some of those I've been able to drive. Some I may never. I got an offer to drive an F40 and an F50, but I mean I can't insure them. So the guy's happy me to drive them. Just nobody's going to pay me to insure them.
Never driven
So
one of those.
have you driven one?
F40 or F50?
Yeah. So, right, yeah, you can't do it on your...
Testarossa you will have.
Yeah, I've driven Testarossa.
Yeah. Testarossa was the second car I sold professionally. The first one was an Austin Healey Sprite, and the second car was a Testarossa.
So I've got a good story about Testarossa if you want one.
Yeah, go on.
So I was doing some filming at a little business estate, and this winter with this Audi this chap had, and this old bloke sort of walked up to me while I was putting cameras on the cars and stuff, and I'm always a bit concerned about people randomly walking up to me while I'm clearly trying to get stuff done. And he asked me about what I was doing, and I then explained I was doing like a car review, and he was like, oh, sort of like Top Gear. I was like, well, sort of, not really, it's on YouTube, but yes, let's go with that, because he's old enough. I'm like, he probably doesn't have the internet, so I've got to explain the internet first, then I've got to explain YouTube, and so I said yes, and he goes, oh, and he looked at me and went, do you want to review a Testarossa? I was like, have you got one? I said, yeah. Oh, okay. So I didn't really think much of it, because I thought he was just, bullshitting. And I later spoke to the chap around the Audi. He's like, no, he's the bloke who owns the whole estate. He's not bullshitting. He's got a Testarossa. It's in his garage. So I think the next year I was doing my Christmas card, and I wanted to do a Christmas card, and I thought it'd be a fun idea because I was going to an 80s party, and I got dressed up as Don Johnson from Miami Vice.
Sleeves rolled up.
Yeah, so I thought, I know where this.
They
there's a
gave him
Testarossa.
a Testarossa.
Yeah. So.
And Mr. Ferrari gave him one. He didn't want it to be used in the series at first, and then when it was, he was so pleased with it, he actually gave Don Johnson a Testarossa.
Yeah. So I messaged this guy, see if I could take a photo of myself posed next to this car in Miami Vice outfit. Unfortunately, it's a red one, not a white one, but nothing's perfect. And so I went there, and it's in his garage, and he's shuffling around, getting his car out, and I'm talking to his wife. And she says, oh yeah, I bought it for him for his 60th birthday, 30 odd year ago. Now I'm looking at this bloke going like, hang on, he does not look like he's 90 if he's a day, because he's still on the phone, shouting at people, telling them what's doing this, that and the other.
Oh, excellent.
We have the smothered chicken.
That's me.
Also, we have no coleslaw, so would you like anything else instead, like
No,
peas
right.
or beans
Some
or...
peas would be fine, yeah.
Peas, yeah? We have the medium
That's
steak.
fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And guess who the other one is for?
Never guess.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And would you guys like any
Yeah,
sauces?
ketchup, please. Yeah.
Ketchup?
Mustard, please.
Mustard.
Mustard, yeah.
So she's bought him for his 60th birthday. She'd originally gone to the dealer to buy one, and at this point in time, there was a long wait list for these cars. But if you got one, it was instantly worth like double what you'd paid for it anyway. So everybody was happy to wait. So she'd gone to the dealer, said, "Look, I'm going to put my money down for this car. There's a lot of money, and it's for my husband. And I know that we're not going to take delivery for a while, but in the interim, could you give me like a model one that you've got,
Okay.
so he at least has something to unwrap on his birthday?" And they said, no. They said, really, you're not going to give me like a little model car? I'm about to spend a lot of cash here, and you won't even do that? No. So he said, okay then, sod you. Forget about it. A few months after that, the market completely collapsed. And she then gets a very sheepish phone call from the Ferrari dealer saying, yeah, you know that car you were looking at, do you want to maybe buy one at half price?
Really?
So in the end she was like, yeah, okay, all right, sod you. So yeah, went and bought it, and yeah, for half off.
Interesting. Right.
I just remember being terrified when I drove the Testarossa because it was very current, worth an awful lot of money. And all I can remember, my overriding memory is not the performance, not the presence.
Did they say ketchup? Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just the incredible width of it, the fact that it was wider than the transit van, and most of the roads that I was driving on, the wing mirrors were extending over the centre line, and I was flinching every time any car came the other way.
Funny thing about Testarossa is that, although that's the impression everybody has of them, if you look at them today, they look tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the new Ferraris don't.
No. But a friend of mine had a Countach, and it was kept in the same garage as his Boxster, and the Boxster absolutely dwarfed this Lambo. The Countach, you just said, like, if someone told you it's a 3/4 scale model, you'd believe them. But yeah, no. Didn't realise I get garlic bread.
I parked on the main road the other day behind a Fiat 500L in my Rover 25, and it's just comical really how diddy it was compared to it.
I don't understand the L.
All right.
Because it's not a Fiat 500.
No, I should have just had a different name.
I almost feel sorry for Mini because Mini is the brand name now as opposed to the car. But with the 500, you're like, sorry, that is not a 500 at all.
A 500 is my mate's dream car, and he imported a 1966 one from Sicily. It's last year now, isn't it? 2023. And I'm 6'5", my mate is 6'7", and we recorded a video of the two of us going out for a drive and to lunch.
Desperate for someone to watch this video.
I'm desperate for anybody to watch any of my videos.
What got you started on YouTube? Because I'm very curious, because I noticed you've got over 1,000 videos up. That's a lot of effort.
None of them got any more than a couple of hundred views, have they?
You got a few with a few thousand.
I've got a few with over 10,000.
Yeah.
Is it a disco review or something? Freelander? Or was it Ranger or something? Wasn't it? Landy?
The popular ones are Freelander and the Jag iPace, the electric thing.
See, I've not driven one of them. You've driven a car that I haven't.
Blimey.
Wow.
Well, I used to have a really good relationship with JLR, and then they changed their press arrangement. Like the same people were there, but doing different roles. And the previous people I got on with like a house on fire, and it was easy to get cars out of them. And then the new people just don't even respond to my emails. To the point where you wonder, like, are you getting my emails? Are they going into your, spam or something like that?
But as for what got me started, it was completely accidental, really. It was New Year's Day, and I know what it was. I forgot this for ages, and then I remembered. I had a really intense and ill-advised midlife crisis relationship with a young Chinese doctor, and it was quite an intense year. When I eventually got rid of her,
You're going to want to cover your ears for some of this stuff.
I'm not going to tell him all that bit, am I?
It's not me telling you, worry about it. It's this lot.
Oh, they know.
Yeah.
They know. I have no filter. My lot know everything there is to know about me.
I've been warned about that.
Yeah, particularly on the live streams. And when I was coming out of that, got rid of her, and then I had a date. You'll be going past it on Calicut Beach with an old flame, and we took some photos. And I wanted to put those photos together into some sort of collage as an aide manual. And so I discovered on my phone that it had this app thing called iMovie, where you could like knit photographs together and put some music on the background and put text on them as well. And I thought, that's quite cool. So I did that. And then on New Year's Day, I was really annoyed because my Rover 45 was playing up. So I thought, I know, I'll actually record a video. And the video was, should you buy a Rover 45 post facelift? No, they're an absolute heap of shit. And that was the video in its entirety. And then just gradually I started doing a couple more, and it just kind of snowballed. And then I hit the idea of the community, because for me, YouTube is all about community. It's nothing to do with me, it's nothing to do with the channel, it's nothing to do with making a business or making money. Everything that I do is aimed towards community. I got divorced, and for the first time in my life ended up literally alone. And I was also...
Was this before or after the whirlwind romance with the Chinese doctor?
Oh, before.
Worth checking.
Yeah. So I suddenly found myself alone for the first time in my life, and I also discovered what it's like to be poor. And I realised that there were probably... So I was looking for something that I could cling to and be part of. There wasn't anything suitable, so I launched the UK singles community. And that took off and took off and took off, had a few million people through the door. And then because I discovered, and I wasn't on my own for long, and thank God, but long enough to get an insight. But by doing that, I discovered the real difficulties that, I mean, I know people have difficulties, but I discovered the particular difficulties people had through being single. Not that being single per se is a problem, but being alone can be a problem. Depression, anxiety, financial issues, bad mental health, bad physical health. So I decided to try and address that. So that launched into the charity. So I launched the singles charity so that I could raise money and start helping people. And so that started in 2016. So I've been doing that for 8 years now. And as I got into the YouTube thing, I discovered that there was a bit of a crossover. And I discovered that not exclusively, but there are people who watch YouTube as partly escapism and partly to vicariously have a life that they don't have themselves. And it occurred to me somewhere deep down that anybody watching YouTube at midnight might potentially have, and I also discovered that there are some amazing people. So almost from day one, I just wanted to create a community around it. And that's what the whole channel is based around. It's not to do with making money, it's to do with building a community. Mustard really helped me.
You know what, that's big.
Yeah.
Where have I helped you? Don't answer that.
I was that Chinese woman.
Which one?
No, you're absolutely right. I had it a lot in COVID, particularly 2020, especially. A lot of people messaging, just saying like, thanks for some videos, because I'm well aware that they are essentially just functionally nonsense videos about cars. Like, it's ultimately not particularly important in the grand scheme of things. But sometimes that's exactly what people need, is not important in the grand scheme of things. They don't want real, serious, hard-hitting, life-changing topics. They just want a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And it really becomes quite moving. Once the live streams took off, that's what really started building the community. And it extends to social media, and we've got a WhatsApp community now and so on. So it basically means that nobody has to be with that company, nobody has to be on their own. I specifically do live streams at difficult times, like Christmas night. I got back from the restaurant. We were open on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
More than 100 people, 7-course meal. We were in first thing in the morning. I got back at 9:15, 9 o'clock. I was live streaming on stream through until gone 1 o'clock, so that people didn't have to be on their own on Christmas night. And it's really quite moving. We've had people pass away, and we've been there with them, while they're going through their palliative care and whatnot. We've got all sorts of things, and it's really, it gives you a real perspective, and it's really quite humbling.
You're very much at home talking to people who are with you, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you look at your most comfortable. I remember the first time you and I tried to do a video together, and you was like, "Oh, I don't know what to say." Do you remember that?
To this day, I struggle to make a video. I find it very alien. I find it very difficult.
Well, it is weird. I mean, if people come to me asking for advice on a channel, generally one of the first things I say to them is say, look, don't worry about looking like an absolute Burke when you're stood there on your own talking to a camera in the middle of a car park, because you are going to look like an absolute Burke standing on your own in the middle of a car park talking to yourself.
And you certainly feel it.
Yeah. The aim is that you've got to make it feel like, for the people watching and whatnot, that actually it is live for them, and that you're not just talking to one person, you're talking to like a whole audience, because it's about making them feel part of something as much as you being a part of something. And I think it's quite it's a very good thing to do. I think it frustrates me greatly that excuse me, even now there are still people out there that don't really consider social media and whatnot a real job. And I say, well, what were you doing in lockdown? You're sat at home with the telly on. Without YouTube, everybody I know that has young kids would have gone spare, because YouTube has all the content and stuff that they want. They just stick stuff on for the kids to watch, because often some people are still having to work but also look after the kids. It's not ideal, but sometimes you've got to just sit down in front of the TV, whatever.
Proper TV can't keep up with YouTube.
No. But the problem is that people are now watching stuff on YouTube, because YouTube can also do things that proper TV can't get away with. And proper TV is a slow lumbering beast. It can't adapt rapidly to change, whereas a YouTuber can make a video on something one week, find out something new, and make another video the week after. And you can adapt that quickly. But real TV, it's got to go through so many different layers. Unless it's the news, it's unlikely ever to be particularly current. And it's also beholden to so many different restrictions, some of which are a good thing. On YouTube, sometimes I think people do let videos go on for far too long. I've been guilty of that, as everybody has. TV then sometimes has to cut things short, just because this program has to fit into this 42-minute slot, whether it's right or not. Maybe it should have been a half-hour program, but it's dragged out. Maybe it should have been an hour and a half long program, and it's been cut down.
So what was your initial motivation with your YouTube channel? Was it to create a business, or was there a message you were trying to get out there, or was it just to have a bit of fun, share knowledge?
So I wanted, ultimately it was as a business. I was working in film and TV before, and short version, I didn't like where that was going. It felt to me like a race to the bottom. People wanted more for less, and that only ever ends one way. So I'd always really liked cars, and I had this notion, because I was fairly young, I had no wife, no kids, no one really relied upon me. I had this notion to sell all this film kit I'd sort of acquired over my years working in film, buy a fancy car, tart around for a year in it, pretend that I'd made it, and then, get a proper job basically, and work out how my life was going to move forwards. While I was doing all of this, I was watching various videos on YouTube about what car to buy. You know, because by this point a lot of reviews were just videos rather than. I actually prefer reading reviews rather than watching them. But you know, a lot of stuff was online about these cars, and I was watching some of these videos. And at this point in time, so we're talking about 8 years ago, there were people that had started to make it quite big on YouTube, and they were buying nice things, apparently, from the money that YouTube was earning them. So I was watching people going and picking up Lamborghinis and things like that. I was going, God, this must be making you some money. And then watching the video and going, yeah, but your video's crap. Like, from a technical standard, the video was poor, the sound quality was poor, the picture was poor. And I thought, you're earning enough money out of this that you should really do a better job. And I thought, I could do a video better than this lot. And I sort of thought, well, maybe I should give it a bit of a go. And I was thinking about buying various different cars, and I was quite attached to the idea of buying a Lotus, and I realised there wasn't really much Lotus content out there on YouTube. So with Business Head On, you're like, well, that's your USP, is you do Lotus stuff. And I had this crazy notion, because I live near the Lotus factory, that, you know, Lotus might support it. They didn't. Yeah, so I thought this could be something. And I thought if I could somehow, in my man brain, make some money out of this silly idea that I've done, in some ways I can justify it. All right, first year I made 140 quid. But
Did you really?
Yeah.
First year.
First year, yeah. Actually, I boast. It was 138.
I bet you earn more than that.
In the first year?
No, I mean now.
What do you mean?
You've always got about how you don't get any money out of it.
Well, I don't get much.
No.
You know we'd love those last two P's, don't you?
They call
Him very shit peas because he shits peas.
No, no.
No, me neither.
Oh, is that the sign?
We have a shared subscriber, and his name is Barry Shippies, and we just decided that it should be a thing that anytime his name is mentioned in any way, shape or form, we have to sing the Barry Shippies song. And one of the many reasons why a road trip with us is not a good idea. How was your steak?
It was nice.
How was your chicken?
As expected. It was hot and it was edible. It filled the need. I understand typically you get curries and things in, although one of you had a kebab and one of you had a curry. I'm very confused about this.
Well, I often go for curry.
Yeah.
And he often goes for the Uttoxeter, don't you? Yeah.
From the same place, or do you go to different places?
No, same place.
The best lunches are the ones where it's not a takeaway, where I cook.
Well, yeah. It don't happen very often, does it?
Yeah, because somebody hasn't got the cooker working in the caravan.
Yeah, because somebody's probably got other more important things to be doing. What's your favourite ordinary car?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, isn't it?
And what's your favourite food? Because my life literally revolves around food. I spend all of my time either eating food, cooking food, preparing food, or planning food. And I will plan days in ahead. And that is part of the joy. The anticipation is part of the joy. Literally, my life revolves around food. If you said, Boaty, it was great meeting you, I'm going to take you on a super day out, then my immediate thought will be, well, what are we going to do for lunch? I need to plan this. Even to the extent when we started doing collection road trips and whatnot, I couldn't cope with taking. I mean, he's just an animal. He took a pound of gammon, shoved it under the bonnet to try and cook it on the way there, and just ate this gammon like a
feral
beast.
being.
Yeah.
It was liberating.
I can't cope with that, and I couldn't cope with the crap food at Motorway Services and so on. So I invested in a food flask so I could take beautiful, exquisite Nepali curry for lunch and things like that. And I've now discovered the other thing I struggle with is hotels.
I was asking James the question, not him asking you.
He started, so he may as well finish.
I've forgotten what the question was then.
I asked James a question.
It's all right. I've remembered both the questions, so you carry on. And then...
There's a thing, and it's fabulous. You must buy one. There's a thing called, you might know about it, a heated lunchbox, and it's like the sort of tray that you get in prison that your food is served in prison. I imagine. I mean, I've
heard. Yeah.
I've never had the pleasure of Her Majesty's pleasure. His Majesty's pleasure now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's basically, and so it's a thing, and it's in an insulated bag, and you can plug it into either a 13 amp wall socket or your 12 volt car socket, and it will warm your food up. So it won't cook it, but it will warm it. So you could take curry that you made the night before, or if you're staying in a hotel, like imagine you're staying in the Premier Inn there, and your options are eating here. And you might think, I don't want to do this.
Do you get the impression that he's going to pull out a sales pamphlet in a minute?
Yeah. We've got one here.
But you could take curry and rice that you've made at home, freeze it with a bit of roti, frozen as well, put it in that thing. During the day, it would naturally defrost, so you don't have to worry about it being refrigerated. And then in the evening, plug it in your hotel room. And whatever time you choose to eat in the evening, you could have a beautiful meal instead of having to come here.
I reckon he got most of that before he even started.
Whatever. You didn't know about heated lunchboxes. Well, apart from what goes on in your underwear.
Yeah. So thank you for that.
Could you be quiet now and let James answer the question?
With pleasure.
See, the thing there is that curry is a food that naturally keeps very well and travels very well.
Mm-hmm.
It always fascinated me that pizzas became one of the most popular sort of takeaway delivery foods, because to me a pizza does not travel well at all. There's a pizza place in my town opened up. You go in there and sit down and eat. Best pizza you've ever had in your life. But you get a delivery and they live 10 minutes away. It's all right. Yeah, you're like this. Pizza to me is one of those things, it's got to be fresh, by which I mean out the oven, onto your plate, eat it, amazing. Because it steams in the box. Like it goes soggy, it goes horrible. Like, there's no way to keep
please
pizza.
tell me you don't eat it hot.
What, the pizza?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Because pizza is not supposed to be eaten hot. It's supposed to be eaten ambient, room temperature. Pizza started life as a very peasant, rustic Italian food. It also had nothing to do with cheese.
Yeah,
It
you
was
said this before.
Fresh tomato, really good olive oil. But it just...
Well, you're talking about a kind of pizza that we don't have these days because people prefer
I'm just
different.
saying it shouldn't be eaten hot. It should be allowed to cool slightly.
Well, to be fair, it generally does, because it's only the pizza I tend to prefer is the sort of probably a Neapolitan. It's only that thin. It can't retain heat. It's not in its nature.
But you start eating it straight away, so that by the time you're finished with it, it's not cold.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, and that's what I do.
So, I've got quite a thing for Chinese food. That's my go-to. I do like it. But again, you have to be careful because bad Chinese food is pretty atrocious. Luckily, there's a few very good places near me. But yeah, otherwise, underwhelming Chinese food is just like, I just slings it in a bit, because basically it's mostly deep fried. I have a few things that you test. If you test the Chinese with two foods, you test it with the prawn toast and the chicken balls. Because if your prawn toast is good, everything else is a safe bet. Because if you get it and it's just, basically all bread, no prawn, and it's soggy and horrid, they've not cooked it right.
But this is where I'll take issue, because that's not Chinese food. Now,
It's British Chinese.
3 times I've been engaged to Chinese nationals. So I've spent a lot of time in Chinatown. I've eaten that, and that's one of my bugbears. It is starting to change now, but the fact that whichever cuisine you eat in the UK, you're not eating that cuisine. You're eating a horrible version of it that's tailored for the UK palate. And I will admit, we are as guilty of that as anybody else. I run a Nepali restaurant, right? We've got fucking chicken tikka masala and chicken korma on the menu, for Christ's sake. I mean, we've got about 100 items on our menu. There are probably 3 that we actually eat ourselves. Momo, sekwa,
staff curry.
Roti. No, staff curry's not on the menu.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
I wish it was.
Well, you said you was going to do a staff curry night.
We did.
Right.
I did.
Well, we were talking about this on the way up because
And I sold out.
I generally like if I'm at a restaurant and it's, you know, proper, asking what they're having, because the thing is, British people don't like anything with bones in it. Certainly not a curry. Whereas all the best curries I've ever had in my life have lots of bones in them, because that's where the flavour is. I mean, I have a bugbear with burgers. Burgers to me should be impossible to get wrong, yet it seems like burgers are nearly impossible to get right. And the one reason is because most places want to go for really lean meat, and you just get it and you're like, it's just...
Didn't taste it.
It's just
Have you ordered a
tasteless.
burger in the States? They'll serve it rare.
Yeah.
That's madness.
Yeah.
Absolute madness. You can't serve a burger rare.
No. Oh yeah, you can have a rare burger, but you can't have proper cheese. That's what they like in America, isn't it?
Yeah, but it
Cheese is dangerous.
It's impossible to get anything without improper cheese. True story. I spent one whole night, genuinely, I spent one entire night in Las Vegas trying to find a sandwich without cheese. Utterly, I failed. It was utterly impossible. I ended up getting bloody room service from the Bellagio. And then I realised how fantastic the linen napkins were that you got with room service. So I then ordered room service every night, stole the napkins, and they are now the napkins that I give to guests when they come and dine with me.
So in Vegas, what you've got to do is get off the strip.
Yeah.
As soon as you can, because there's some amazing places in Vegas, like in LA. Some of the best food you've ever had in LA is from a restaurant that until 7 p.m. didn't exist. Because, you know, like
Street food.
yeah, like when you go to places in Thailand, you're like, where's the restaurant? Well, it will be over there, but it's not there right now because he's not arrived. And at, you know, 7 o'clock, someone turns up with some plastic tables, tablecloths, cutlery and whatnot, and all of a sudden you've got this food. And you're like, how is it that some bloke has just turned up, erected a restaurant, and also cooked some of the best food you've ever had? A really good, solid, honest burger is a divine thing, but is annoyingly difficult to find. If you want a really good one, get a Bleecker burger in London.
So what defines a perfect burger?
Flavour from the meat, a lack of complication in terms of the accompaniments. I'm on the fence about pickle. When I was a kid, I'd always have pickle taken out. Now I don't mind it, but it's got to be a good. It's got to be there to add something. I find a lot of places just like to pad stuff out with unnecessary amounts of salad and various things. Look, I've signed up for a burger, not the Atkins diet, like, right? You know, so I don't mind a bit of. Actually, my favourite order at the minute is from Five Guys. It's just, if you want a standard, you can go anywhere. It's Five Guys, and you get a bit of mayo on there, you get a bit of lettuce, a bit of tomato, burger, cheese, bacon. Nothing else. But also what I do is I go for the single burger, not the double. Because the problem with the double is once they put the double in, and this is a bugbear of mine, a lot of places now serve you burgers that tall.
Yeah.
Which I look at and I go, what's the point of that? Point of the burger is that you're supposed to be able to, you know, eat it like that. So when you go for a double, there's too much in there. There's too much. You can't get a bit of everything in one bite.
Now you need a telescopic jaw.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be part snake. So
Those
it
burgers
doesn't
with
work.
a stick through them to hold it together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They actually dislocate their jaws, don't they? They have jaws that dislocate.
Uttox.
Snakes.
Yes.
And that's how they can swallow like a human.
Yeah.
So there's a joy in that. Alternatively, again, I mean, anything cooked with like a great degree of passion. I mean, again, you go to the States and you get all the Mexican food trucks and people on the side of the road just making stuff, and they love the sort of theatre and the prep, and they seem to have the time to spend like 7 hours doing their marinades and everything else, which we just don't. But they come from a more foodie culture, and it's one thing I love. And LA in particular is so vibrant. So yeah, I love good food. Like, it's the same with films. Like, I don't necessarily want anything original, because generally speaking, there's a reason that nobody's come up with the idea before. You know, we've been cooking for, you know, forever. As soon as someone accidentally dropped a deer on a fire, we've been cooking, and in that time, we've come up with a lot of really, really good ideas. And so generally these days, I'm more impressed with you know, like a donut. I've seen the most, and Americans are particularly bad at this, the most amazing, crazy, enormous donuts with like 5 different flavours, different fillings, icing, frosting, and they've got, you know, a little microwave oven in them, TV on the top, you know, everything. and it's like $10. You take a bite of it and you go, it's flavourless. Because it's got no. So I'd rather off a little, market stall vendor, someone that's just squeezed it through, fried it right in front of you, chuck some sugar at it, and you have it. Because when it's that fresh, you're like,
donuts.
you're like, that's amazing. Like people go nuts for Krispy Kreme. I don't know why.
No,
I don't know why. Because they're cooked remotely, or they're made frozen, baked on site. And then once any donut, the best donut in the world, after it's like 12 hours old,
well, after
it's useless.
After it's gone cold.
Okay, so you're having a party.
Hang on, my turn. Donuts, straight from the van.
Oh, we've got onto his expert subject now, haven't we?
Shut up. Just give everybody else a chance, will you? Michael Barrymore. Yeah, donut without even any
I'll
sugar.
take that over Nigel Farage. First words to me when we first met, he said, "Fuck me, you look like a Nigel Farage tribute act."
You don't see it. He didn't until then.
Yeah, still do.
Donuts.
Everybody else does. Donuts. Well, that was it. That was it. Really. I don't need to go on for ages about why someone's.
You've just forgotten what you were going to say. Don't make it sound as if
that
it-
train of thought left the station and
Yeah.
never seen again.
Well, that does happen somewhat.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're having a party,
Yes.
big celebration.
Yes.
It's for your birthday.
Yes.
And you're going to be eating in an area that's attached to the food preparation area.
Yes.
So you can see and be part of everything that's going on.
Kitchen in typical parlance.
If you like. Yeah.
Yes.
You can have any chef, alive or dead.
Uh-huh.
And if you choose a dead one, they come back to life.
Yeah. Not just some skeleton, sort of prepping your food.
So you can have any chef, alive or dead, to cook it for you. Who are you going for?
Initial thing I want to say is Tom Kerridge.
Ah.
Oh.
My mate did a thing with him. He came to their house and taught them how to cook steak for one of his TV programs.
Yeah. Right. Tom Kerridge's stuff. It looks like hearty and like, because I've been to a lot of fancy restaurants and some of them have been. You have the food and you go, that genuinely blew me away. It was fantastic. I've been to Michelin star places before, and you have the food and you go, like, I don't know how they did that or what they did, but it was something I haven't experienced anywhere else. But I've been to other places where you sort of come out of it and you go,
Where's the nearest chippy?
yeah, you guys are at McDonald's on the way home because I appear to have spent £100 and I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And not only that, it wasn't like it was small but sensational. It was just mean portions of food that again looked really fancy, but ultimately wasn't. That's my biggest problem with Vegas. Everything in Vegas looks delicious. Half of it is just expensive and crap. Like half of everything in Vegas is this level, right? The other half of it is that good, but there is no way of being able to tell until you're there. Because the other problem is all the restaurants in Vegas get rated by people that are probably drunk and are desperate to tell their friends that they've eaten at the restaurant and they've paid $75 for a burger. And so, of course, they have to tell everybody it was brilliant, even when actually it wasn't, and around the corner there's a $10
Vegas
burger.
is
which is
like
better.
Britain was back in the 70s. So the way to eat well is to have breakfast 3 times a day.
Well, Black Forest Ghetto, Steak Diane, and maybe as a starter some orange juice.
I wouldn't have gone for Tom Kerridge. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't have guessed at that. Who would you go for?
My nan.
That well-known chef.
Yeah, well, she wasn't well known at all, but she could do a very good roast dinner, and it always inspired me to cook myself.
All right, which part of yourself did you start off with?
The bit that you're thinking of right now.
What was your first posh car? Was
That
it
I
a Lotus?
owned, or
That you
not.
owned, yeah.
Well, it depends really, see, because the thing with the Lotus that I had is it was a 70,000 quid car, but some people, everybody that saw it thought it was either a 40,000 quid car or a 140,000 quid car.
Right.
So I'm not really sure whether that counts as posh or not.
Compared to a 407 estate, I think it probably
Yes,
does.
it was certainly a step up over the 407. I mean, previous to that, I had like a BMW Z4M coupe. I mean, I went I'd never in my life spent more than 15 grand on a car, and then I jumped and spent like 70 grand on one. Did regret it in some ways, didn't at all in others, and it's done me very well. First Ferrari came in 2020, that was a 550 Maranello. That was...
That is... Now, I lost touch with everything after the late 90s.
Yeah.
Because I came out of the business then. So I didn't have either the interest in or the access to the stuff that came thereafter. But the 550, from watching your videos, is probably the only Ferrari I would be excited to drive.
Yeah.
Because if I'm correct, it's the follow-on from the 355.
No, it sits alongside.
Or am I getting mixed up?
At the so from about, let's call it mid-90s, your Ferrari range, incredible to believe, it was basically 3 cars. If you ignore the F50, because that was always, you know, silly money and limited numbers, you had the 355 was the entry level.
Yeah.
Then the 550 was the like flagship 2-seater V12. And then they had the 456 was the 4-seater.
What year would this be? Because I think this is after
the 456 was the first to come out, and that was about 93, give or take.
I had my 355 was a 95 car.
Yes, so the 355 came out in 94, and then the 550 came out in 96.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean they're all fabulous cars. I've got a real thing, and one of the reasons that I wanted the 550, because 355 is like my dream car.
Maybe I'm getting mixed up. I watched your Ferrari videos,
Yeah.
and I watched the one video, and I thought that is the one that I would love.
Yeah.
That is the one that I would love, and I would love it for the same reasons that your rationale behind it was just pinged with me, and it was something along the lines of, this is like the follow-on, if you like, from the 355, or if you like the 355, this is.
It could be anything. It wouldn't be the 550. I mean, the 360 is what came after the 355.
Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of then, is it?
360 came after the 355. I've done a few videos with those. They're really nice cars, and they're probably the best way into a Ferrari these days, because they're quick enough that you're not going to be really annoyed with it because you've spent a load of money on a car that's slow. They're modern enough that they're going to be interesting. You could use it day to day if you really wanted to. Stuff will go wrong with it, but also you can get the parts for the most part, and they're not going to hopefully be ruinous to run.
Like the 355, where you had to drop the engine to service it.
Everyone always talks about that. It's complete nonsense. In terms of, you do have to drop the engine for the cam belt change, but the thing is, to do the cam belt service on a 355 properly, you have to take the engine out, yes, but it's designed to come out. It's all on a big subframe. It comes out in a cradle, and that adds basically £1,000 to the cost of your servicing every 3 years. And from my perspective, if an extra £1,000 over 3 years, £1 a day, is enough to put you off owning one of these cars, like that's not, Ferrari ownership is not for you. And to be honest, with old Ferraris, the thing I say to people is, if in a year all it costs you is a service, be thankful, because they're old cars. They're 25, 30-year-old cars now. You know, so high performance, needy cars.
What is the cheapest way to get into a Ferrari now? Now, back in my day, then the cheapest would have been either a Mondial, which you might not count as a, well, it is, or probably the cheapest was a 400.
So
very unloved. Back in
400s have kind of gone up. You still will get the odd cheaper one about, but yeah.
Well, you used to be able to buy one for 4 figures back in my day.
Yeah, not now. You won't get any Ferrari. I wouldn't tell anybody to buy a Ferrari for less than like 40 grand now, really. For quite a while, it was the 456, because you could get an automatic one of those for like just sub 20 grand or so.
What was the one that did used to go cheap as well? And nobody liked. Was it the? What was it? Came before the 355.
348.
That's the one. Yeah,
yes, those were cheap. Again, I think what happened is 355 prices went through the roof, And at that point, mysteriously, the 348 suddenly went from unloved car to, you know, forgotten gem,
Okay.
which I think was a lot of people trying to justify to themselves why they're buying the car that they didn't actually really want, but is now the one that they can afford. And actually, I've driven the 348. It's a lovely car. You just have to accept it's not a 355, and I'm fine with that. But yeah, Mondials are still pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things. But again, you're going to spend 40 to 50 grand for one of those probably.
Bloody hell, really?
Yeah, yeah, Mondial, 456 and 360, but they've all gone up. They've all gone up.
What's a
over the last
400 fetching now then? Or a 412?
months. They're so rare, honestly. I wouldn't want to quote a figure because
Really?
you just don't tend to see them up for sale at all. I'm sure I saw one up for like 40 or 50 grand or something like that. There was a 400 automatic. But again, I'm like, that's not a car that you, because it's all of the stress and hassle of an old Ferrari without the looks or the go.
They were terrible. You only had to park them up overnight for them to go out of tune.
Yeah.
Especially the early carb ones.
Yeah. So
But I quite liked them. The chairman's Ferrari they were known as.
yeah. So
I did quite like them.
I'm lost in this conversation.
you asked about favourite normal cars.
I did. Oh, that was ages back, wasn't it?
I stored it, saved it. Now, are you talking new or like across the board?
Probably across the board.
So, new cars. One of my favourites, Kias.
Yeah.
Really like them. Good cars, lots of features for the money. My mum just got a Kia Picanto, which is a relative to the i10. And it's what I got her to get was the GT Line S, so it's the top of the line spec. And you've got like a leatherish seats, nice door cards.
Leatherish?
Yeah, leatherish. Genuine imitation leather. You've got nice little display up here, your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you know, wireless phone charger, cruise control, heated seats, heated steering wheel. But it's a nice compact little car, great fun to drive. I got her to get the 1 litre turbo, which is a 3-cylinder, makes about 100 horsepower, but it only weighs a ton, so it's actually quite a laugh. Steering's lovely, so for everybody that harps on about how like a Mark 1 Golf GTI used to be, that sort of thing, you're like, actually, it's quite a laugh. You can park it anywhere, it's got enough space for 4 people and a little bit of luggage, and you pick one up like brand spanking new, they've just discontinued them, but they're about 17 or 18 grand, which is a lot of car for the money.
Yeah, I fancy I'm going one of those now.
Yeah, they're honestly, they're brilliant.
He said a lot of words I didn't understand.
Uh-huh.
Apple CarPlay, I don't know what that is.
I thought you would know that.
No, I don't.
Yeah. So as for other stuff, I tell you the highlight I drove recently, Peugeot 406. Chap brought me his 406, which was I think a 2 litre with an automatic gearbox that killed any hope it ever had of being a sort of like fun to drive car. But gearbox aside, the steering is so good, and I knew what I was driving was not a prime example of the breed. But it was just great. Everything about it was just so much fun. You're like, I really want to drive this car more. And it's rare, like, and you know, it's what, a 20-year-old car, but like it was a good, fun car to drive.
Citroen CX, cool or not cool?
Considering young people think Volvos are cool now, probably got to be cool.
Do you like them?
No, they're weird. I've got a BX.
What, you own one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, which one?
16 valve.
Ah. I had the normal GTI,
Yeah.
but not the 16 valve,
Yeah.
because I preferred the spoiler. The 16 valve had the lip spoiler, and the GTI had the...
No, what you're
rim
thinking of
spoiler.
is the difference between the phase 1 and phase 2. So mine has the spoiler that goes up and along like that.
Oh.
Yeah, so the phase 2 16 valve had the more integrated spoiler, which I also don't like.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
wanted one specifically with the,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the spoiler. Yeah, that's a phase 1 16 valve, which is what I've got. It's been away for quite some time, having work done. I was sold it as like a, yeah, honestly, it's pretty good. It just needs paint. And I got about 2 journeys out of it, and
It was my first decent car, the BX GTI. It was my mum's car,
Yeah.
and she replaced it with V6 XM,
Yeah.
and gave me the BX GTI when I would have been, 21, something like that.
quite a car.
And yeah, that was super cool.
We should be probably
Wrapping
making
up.
a move, shouldn't we?
Yes.
So, you know what that means, don't you?
You know what we didn't do?
No?
We didn't say grace.
Well, you say it on your way on.
Okay.
You can say it for all of us. Join us next time when Mustard and Boaty
Do Lunch.
with another YouTube celebrity.
That was a bit half-hearted.
It was actually, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you know, considering we've got pretty much a megastar sitting opposite us, we could have gone a bit more
Well,
enthusiastic.
you could have actually led that, and then
I could have, but you were like taking charge. You were like being the daddy.
yeah, you do that.
As you like to do.
Not you.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Well,
You do it.
no, we'll just bugger off. We'll just let it peter out like that.
Peter out.
Yeah. How much, in terms of time, how much longer have you got to go?
I don't know.
Couple of hours, I think, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go on, let's do it properly. Right, that's it for this one, so do be sure to join in the next time that Mustard and Boaty, with somebody else better known than us, do lunch. Thank you, James.
Cheers, guys.
That was the sound of an embittered man regretting his latest. Oh, that's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. He's typing to his good lady.